Hello queens. I'm back at y'all with another client tutorial, and today I'm showing y'all how I created this yellow summertime fine type of glam. And y'all already know we're jumping straight into the tutorial. I did start this video off by cleaning my client's face, however I forgot to press start on my camera, so we're jumping straight into the eyebrows. And I'm just outlining her brows using my Nicka K brow pencil, and this one is in the shade black. As y'all know, whenever I'm outlining the brows, I always love to extend the front because it just helps me with the ombre effect. And I also outline both of the brows before I fill them in, just to try to get them as symmetrical as possible. Now that both brows have been outlined, I'm going to start filling them in from the back, and I'm going to work my way up to the front. For the front of her brows, I'm going in with another Nicka K pencil. I believe this one is in the shade dark brown or light brown. It's one of the two. And I like to use a lighter shade at the front because this also helps with the ombre effect. And now I'm just going over it with my spoolie to help blend everything together. Now I'm going in with my I Envy Clear Eyelash Glue, and I'm going to use this to mold her brow hairs down in place. So as you can see, I'm just going in with a generous amount, and then once I have it all applied to her brows, I'm going to take the spoolie end of my pencil and use it to smooth her brow hairs down. A few of y'all have commented on some of my videos and said, why not try brow gel? I have tried brow gel, however, brow gel does not have a hold like this I Envy Clear Eyelash Glue. So I'm going to keep using this. It comes off with soap and water, and it keeps your brows in place all day. To clean up her eyebrows, I'm going to be going in with these two Nicka K concealers, and they're in the shades 02 and 07. First, I'm going in with the shade 02, and I'm using this to clean up underneath her arch. Now for the remainder of the way, I'm going to be going in with the shade 07, and I'm using this to clean up the top and the bottom of her eyebrows. As y'all can see, we have one nice clean eyebrow. I'm going to go ahead and blend out this concealer, and then I'm going to clean up the other brow. Make sure when blending out the concealer that you always blend in between the brows as well. This step is very essential for me due to the fact that I love to extend the front of the eyebrows. I always have to make sure I clean up in between them. Now that both of the brows have been cleaned, I'm taking my juvia'splace and I'm using this as my eyeshadow base today. So as you can see, I'm applying it all over my client's lids, and then I'm going to go in and blend it out. I'm going in with this RCMA no color powder, and I'm going to be applying this to the front of her brows to lighten them up, and I'm also going to be using it to set some of the concealer in place. For today's eyeshadow look, I'm going in with my Glam Smart Cookie palette, and I'm starting off with this dark brown shade and I'm working it into her crease. You should be able to find this palette on Shein if they have not discontinued it. If I can remember correctly, this palette was only about $7, y'all, and I highly recommend it. I love it so much. It's full of matte, warm, and neutral eyeshadow shades, so it comes in handy with a lot of my looks. As y'all can see, I'm going in with this reddish brown shade, and I'm using it as my transition. So I'm just blending it around the edges of the first shade that we use. And once I have this color all applied, I'm going to be alternating between the two shades just to make sure that I really build up the pigmentation and the blend. I'm going in with this matte white shade and I'm applying it to the inner corners of her eyes. Now I'm just going in with some concealer and I'm using it to clean up around her lids. I'm going in with this bright yellow shade from my Morphe 35B palette, and I'm just going to be applying this all over her lids. The shade was a little more vibrant than I wanted it to be, so I went on top of it with a pale eyeshadow just to dull it down a little bit. This is a soft glam no cut crease look, so it doesn't have to be neat, it just has to be blended. So make sure that you really take your time when applying these different eyeshadows and make sure that the edges are nice and blended before you move on. I'm going back in with my transition shade and I'm just sweeping it across the edges just to make sure that it's all nice and blended. I'm going in with this brown liquid liner from LA Colors and I'm going to be using this to line her eyes. I'm going back in with that dark brown eyeshadow and I'm using it to blend out the edge of her liner. Moving on to the face, I'm going in with my Pond's moisturizer and I'm using this to hydrate her skin. To blend the moisturizer out, I'm going in with my damp Real Technique sponge. To prime her face, I'm using my Smashbox Photo Finish Primer, and I'm mainly going to focus this product in her T-zone. I'm going in with my Nicka K concealer in the shade 07, and I'm using this to even out her skin a little bit before we move on to the foundation. For the foundation, I'm going in with my Fit Me foundation in the shade Spicy Brown. As y'all can see, I just go straight in and apply it onto her face using this flat brush, and then I blend everything out using a dense foundation brush. If you're someone that likes coverage, I recommend that you blend the foundation out with a dense brush. If you're not really into full coverage, then you can use a damp sponge. I'm going back in with my Nicka K concealer in the shade number 2, and I'm using this to highlight her face. Now I'm just going back in with my foundation brush, and I'm using it to blend the concealer out. I'm gonna allow the concealer to sit underneath her eyes and just move on to the next step, which is bronzer. I'm taking this e.l.f. Putty bronzer. I don't know the shade name, but this is what it looks like. And I'm applying this to her cheekbones, and I'm also gonna be applying this to her jawline. I didn't want the contour to be too strong, which is why I just decided to bronze instead. I went ahead and sculpted her nose off camera, so now I'm just going to go ahead and blend out the concealer underneath her eyes. To set the concealer in place, I'm going in with my Morphe Loose powder in the shade Banana Rich, and I'm pressing it into her skin using this powder puff. You can find these on Shein or Temu, but I do have them linked in my Temu haul video, so if you haven't watched that video, go tune in after you finish watching this one. I'm taking my MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in the level Dark Deep, and I'm using this to set the bronzed areas of her face. To set the remaining areas of her face, I'm going in with my Fenty Loose powder in the shade Hazelnut. I'm going in with some black eyeshadow, and I'm using this to line across her waterline. Now I'm taking a warm tone deep brown eyeshadow, and I'm just sweeping it across her lower lash line. I wanted to add a little razzle dazzle, so I'm going in with this Juvia'splace liquid eyeshadow along with this chunky glitter, and I'm going to be applying them both to the inner corner of her lower lash line. So as you can see, I'm starting by stamping on the liquid eyeshadow, and then I'm going to be going directly on top of it with this chunky glitter, and I did go in with an adhesive as well. I decided to go in with a little bit of blush. I'm taking the orange tone blush from my Juvia'splace Saharan blush palette. Now I'm just going to go ahead and press in all of the powder. I'm going to go ahead and lock everything in place with some setting spray, and I'm using my Morphe setting spray. Now I'm just going to move on to lashes. I went ahead and cut these to fit her eyes, so I'm just gluing them onto her lash line. While the lashes are drying, I'm going to go ahead and highlight her face, and y'all already know I'm using my Be Perfect highlighter. It's my favorite highlighter. Now for the lips, I'm going in with my Ruby Kisses Cream Foundation, and I'm using this to outline her lips. I'm going in with a Q-tip and I'm using it to blend out the liner before we go in with the liquid lipstick. Now I'm just going in with this Absolute New York liquid lipstick and I'm going to focus it in the center of her lips. I'm going on top of that liquid lipstick with this pale pink lip gloss from OZ Lab, and I'm going to have her press her lips together to help me blend everything out. I went ahead and cleaned her lips up off camera, so now we're stepping into the grand reveal.
Oh, that's my shirt, Kita. That's so cute. Hold on. That's so cute.
Unfortunately, queens, I had to cut the reveal short because I didn't want to get copyrighted, but as y'all can see, she loved the look and I loved it as well. I think this look came out bomb, and if you enjoyed this video, please do not forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Make sure that you follow me on Instagram. A link will be in the description box down below, and stay tuned for my next one. Bye bye, queens.